Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Stay-at-Home Bookkeeper Behind the Business. And today we are doing something really awesome. We are pulling back the curtain on something people ask us all the time. What does a bookkeeper actually do day to day?
I mean, if you've ever wondered what life looks like as a stay-at-home or work from anywhere bookkeeper, you are in the right place. We're talking about the freedom that this business gives you and the practical side, like daily, weekly, monthly tasks that bookkeepers will handle.
Yes, and who better to talk about this subject than Tracy Rosenberry, our very own head of education and lead mentor here at the Stay-at-Home Bookkeeper. Tracy, how you doing?
Okay.
Welcome, welcome. Tracy is our one-stop shop for all things bookkeeping knowledge and business ownership expertise. So we're really excited to have you on. So Tracy, for anybody who does not know you yet, can you introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. So I started my bookkeeping business about 10 years ago. I've worked with over 100 different business owners, clients on my own. And now I work with the Stay at Home Bookkeeper Academy. I mentor hundreds more bookkeeping business owners. And I just love that I'm able to help people do the same thing that I was able to do and have that flexibility and ability to work from home, which I know today is all about day to day. So you're going to get to hear even more about my why and the day to day task.
I love it. Well, we are so happy having you here. Tracy is just a genius, and you'll get to know her more as we do more of these sessions and chat with her more. But Tracy, let's start with the big picture. What does a typical day look like for a work from home bookkeeper?
Yeah. So, like I said, a big part of why I started my business is I had two elementary school kids at home and I wanted to be there for them. I didn't want to miss anything. And so, like, short answer, it can look however you want it to. It can fit
Love it.
your life. So, my typical day when I first got started, it was having working around my kids' schedule. So, typically while they're at school, I was able to drop them off in the morning and then pick them up in the evening in the afternoon, and I would work in between. And so how I structured my day was like Monday through Wednesday was client work. Thursday was my marketing day, which I love to do networking. I would typically go do a networking meeting at lunchtime. I would usually schedule some one-on-ones before. I'd schedule one before and then I'd schedule one after. And then by the time I was done with my networking, I'd go pick up my kids again. Friday was usually my personal day, so I would go do errands, laundry, grocery shopping, that sort of thing. But the beautiful thing is I had full flexibility. So I was able to adjust. I could go be there for a school event or I could move things around for doctor's appointments. I just had a lot of flexibility with it.
I love it. That is so valuable. And I love having a forever summer Friday, as some businesses like to call it, that you can just kind of do whatever you want on Fridays. That is just awesome. Let's get a little bit into the nitty-gritty. What would you say are the main weekly, daily, weekly, and monthly tasks as a bookkeeper? And how do you organize your time as a bookkeeper with all this freedom and flexibility that you shared?
Yeah, so it's really important to have a schedule, right? Because you do have the flexibility, so it's really a good idea to have a schedule for yourself. Like I said, I organized everything by week, so I had kind of a rhythm to it. I like to work on my clients' books every week, and so I typically would work on certain clients Monday, certain clients Tuesday, certain ones Wednesday, and weekly tasks would consist of, the actual bookkeeping, like categorizing things in QuickBooks, running payroll if I had clients with payroll, paying bills for my bill pay clients. I would do that once a week. Monthly task is more about following up on client questions. So if there's transactions I didn't know where to categorize them, I would make sure to send those questions to the client. Beginning of the month, collecting statements, reconciling accounts, and closing the books. So really, the first week of the month was the busiest. And I like to have kind of that weekly cadence where I wasn't just, busy all at once, but I know bookkeepers that they will structure things totally different and they may take the first week of the month and really work hard and work, that whole week and then they take the rest of the month off. So there's a lot of different, I know. I know.
So it really is flexible.
So flexible. It's so
Um,
flexible.
I love that.
I actually have a twofold question for you, and it's kind of we get asked a lot, like what services do bookkeepers actually offer, or do they usually offer, and are there options to specialize in those particular areas?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, I guess maybe I should start with what is bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is really just like organizing clients' transactions. So you are deciding where they need to be categorized. Was this for office supplies? Was this for payroll? It's more about organizing, categorizing, and then there's reconciling accounts, sending monthly reports so they can see where everything went. How much did I spend on office supplies last month? How much did I spend on payroll? So that's the basic bookkeeping. And a lot of bookkeepers, maybe they just offer the basic bookkeeping and they stop there. But there's so many more things that you can do. Just think about all the needs that clients have with their finances. They may need to send invoices to their clients. So you can help with invoicing, sending those invoices, creating those invoices for them, sending them off, applying the payments. You can help them pay their bills. A lot of clients, they are so busy in the day to day, they might need help just getting their bills paid on time. So you can make sure that you have that, in the calendar, you're paying their bills, making sure it gets done. Running payroll, you can run, their payroll so that their employees get paid. Sales tax filing, if they have a business that needs sales tax filing, you can do that for them too. So it really depends on your client's needs. But yeah, you can absolutely specialize. You can have a niche. You could work with, real estate, e-commerce, restaurants, creatives, like sky's the limit, really.
Now, you mentioned a little while ago, you were talking about flexibility. And so I want to hone into that for just a second, because a lot of people assume that if they do this, they're going to be stuck just working 9 to 5 if they start a business. So how does bookkeeping give people more of that flexibility to where they're not having to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of been the conversation this whole time, right? Flexibility. The deadlines for bookkeeping are usually just monthly. So you might have some other deadlines. We talked about like payroll. We might have to run payroll every week, or we might have to do bill pay more often. But for the most part, you can even a lot of times schedule bills throughout the month. So you really only have to touch that once a month. You can schedule sales tax once a month. So you usually only have to touch that once a month. So like there's just so much flexibility that, like I said, you can spread it out over the month. You can take that first week of the month and just really work hard that week and get everything done. So yeah, it's not limited to 9 to 5. And in fact, a lot of people will start a bookkeeping business. Maybe they already have a full-time job and you
Mhm.
have the flexibility to do that. So maybe you're already working 9 to 5 and you need to fit in what you're doing 5 to 9, or after the kids get home. Maybe you have little ones that are need your time more. Maybe they're not elementary, off at school, but maybe they have little ones that you have at home that you really need to spend the time with during the day, and maybe you're waiting for your spouse to get home to help with childcare. So sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. You can work on it anytime.
I love
Um,
that. And I think the other thing too is, like, even when I was in my case of where I had to go to doctor's appointments, the thing about it is you can do it anywhere. You can take your laptop with you, you can go anywhere. If you have to take your elderly parents to doctor's appointments, or yourself to doctor's appointments, or if you just want to go to a beach and work on a beach, you can do that too. That's the part about flexibility that sometimes people don't realize. We're like, you can still work and still have an ocean view. Like, you don't have to be in your four walls home, right? So I think that's an amazing flexibility that we don't talk about enough, that you can do it anywhere. If you want to travel with your kids and go places and during the, summer, and then do that. Just log in whenever you want and work those hours. So that's an amazing flexibility. I love
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, I love that. One of my favorite posts that we've had of a student who's now mentor that everyone will get to meet at some point, Robin, was her with her feet kicked up on her pool on a I think it was a Monday afternoon. So this is my office for today, and it's just incredible the things you can do working from home in this type of business. Now I want to backtrack just a little bit. We started touching on niching. Can you talk about what types of clients do bookkeepers typically work with? Do they have to work with people local to their area, virtual? Should they specialize? Do they specialize? That's a lot of fun questions in there for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can do both. You can work with clients that are local to you. You can work with them that are virtual. You know, the funny thing is, I mean, it's 2025. I started my business, almost 10 years ago. This is pre-COVID, like before everything went virtual. So it was a little bit of a anomaly that I was virtual. I started my business completely virtual. And it wasn't so common back then, but now it's so common. People understand, how to work with people virtually. So that's an advantage that you guys have, that you wouldn't have had 10 years ago. So people expect that now. And I have clients out of state. I have clients in state. I focused a lot on networking events that were local. So I do have a lot of local clients, but even with local clients, I keep everything virtual. So I'm going to tell them, hey, I'm not doing paper drop-offs. We're not doing in-person meetings. I'm going to set those expectations up front because that helps me keep everything more efficient and streamlined. If I'm constantly out chasing documents or going to people's places of business, that's going to cut into my day. And I want to be able to serve more clients more efficiently and, keep that flexibility.
I love that. And we hear a lot of new bookkeeping business owners say, or people who want to start their own bookkeeping business, they're worried that maybe there's a lot of other bookkeepers in my area, or I live in a rural area, and I'm worried about finding clients. So it sounds like that's not really a problem because you can find your clients and work virtually.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so speaking of potentially new business owners or people considering, why is bookkeeping such a great business for someone to start if they don't have bookkeeping experience or ownership experience?
Yeah. So, bookkeeping is really best learned by doing. So you don't have to have everything figured out ahead of time to get started. And it's also just kind of a low barrier business. It's low cost. You really just need like a computer and an internet connection. And it's easy to scale as you grow in confidence and as you get more clients. So, as you go, you can add on more services. Maybe you just start with the basic bookkeeping and then later you add on payroll and then you add on sales tax and, you take on more complex clients. So you can really kind of start small and learn as you go. And, what other business can you get started with an internet connection? I mean, most you're gonna have to, you might have to go find a place to lease and you've got that expense and or you might have to have $20,000 in inventory or, like just a lot of businesses take a lot to get started and bookkeeping is just really low barrier to entry. So it's a great first business.
I think I was going to ask you a question. I think you kind of just took my answer, but maybe you have one more thing. So I was going to ask you, like, what is one thing that people are surprised to learn about being a bookkeeper? And you mentioned that you only have to be able to plug into the internet. That would be one. But is there something else that they would be surprised to learn?
So, yeah, actually, I think that, a lot of people think it's all about numbers, but it's not. It's really so much more about relationships. So, as far as numbers go, the software is going to do most of the math. You're not sitting there, with your adding machine counting up numbers all day. You're going to spend more time communicating with clients, building trust, helping them understand their numbers. It's a relationship business, and that's what it really is.
I 100% agree. And I think that that's the best part. And is if you can talk to people and if you can just be somewhat organized, that's all you have to have. Everything else kind of just you go with it, right? So here's another one that we get a lot, and I see people, and again, if you have questions too, pop them in below. We want to make sure that we're answering the questions that we see coming in. If this is you and you're excited about this, I also want you to put maybe your favorite emoji. I want to make sure that you guys are listening here. One of the questions that I did see come up on previously was, I'm really nervous. I don't have the technical skills. I don't have a technical side of me. So, I don't know that I can do this. So, what would you say to that person here that's saying, I'm nervous about that technical side and how hard is it to learn? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say, if you have basic computer skills and you can follow directions, then you should be good. You don't have to be tech savvy. I mean, maybe if you can't turn on a computer at all, that might be a problem. If you have basic computer skills and you're just willing to learn, then it's not that hard, but you've got to the biggest challenge is usually the mindset and not the skill.
So, if you can turn on your computer, you can do this.
I love
I
it. And we
love
can
that.
help with the rest. That is so funny. So we're starting to get here in this advice mode. What advice would you give to someone on the fence about starting their own bookkeeping business?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're on the fence, that means you're already thinking about it. And I just say, if this is in your heart, don't ignore it. You might be nervous to get started, but imagine going forward 10 years and then looking back and saying, what if I did that? You're gonna see so many, if you watch our channel, you're gonna see so many success stories. And would you want to look back in 10 years and say, gosh, that could have been me, or I wonder if that could have been me? So I think it's worth taking a chance on yourself. And I can only imagine how my life would be so different if I didn't take a chance on myself so many years ago. So that's what I would
I
say.
think I think the key is you're going to be somewhere in 5 years, in 10 years. So where are you going to be? Take that leap. I mean, we will not let you fail here at all. Like that's the one thing I know about all the coaches is they're so incredibly amazing and they help you and they hold your hand along the way. You're not going to fail. So where are you going to be? You're going to be somewhere in the couple years. You might as well be here making a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And I love what you said. I'm gonna write this on the sticky note and keep it on my desk. If it is in your heart, don't ignore it. That is such an
Mhm.
important piece, trusting your gut, trusting your dreams and where you want to go, and then letting mentorship or other people in your life, help you pull you up along the way. I loved that. That's gonna be one of my new quotes that I save. So, Tracy, I want to sum it all up. If you could boil it down, what is the best part of being a bookkeeper?
Yeah. I mean, we've said this word several times already, but I would say flexibility and control because you get to build a business around your life. You get to choose who you work with, how much you earn. You're not limited by someone else's schedule or salary or what they want. It's all about you.
Oh, that is so awesome. Well, Tracy, thank you so, so much dropping all of these nuggets of wisdom. And I want to speak to everybody below. If you've ever been wondering if this lifestyle is possible for you, let this be your sign. Let this be your sign to follow your gut, that, the voice in the back of your head. You do not have to stay stuck in a career that doesn't fit your life. You can build a business around your life, not the other way around. So I'm going to share for everybody.
If this is you while she's bringing that up, drop me. Just put me there in the chat. We want to make sure that you're engaged here. I want to see some me's. There you go.
Yes, and for anybody who is dropping below me or you are ready to engage, go ahead and scan this QR code. You'll grab a chance to speak with someone on our team. We want to get to know you. We want to know your story. Where are you at in your life? Where do you want to be? And we'll help you fill in the blanks. So go ahead, scan that code. We'll also drop a link below for everyone. But I just want to say thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Deanna. Any last words of wisdom before we head out for the day?
Nope, stay tuned. Tracy, thank you for always sharing and giving back to our community. And if you are even on that fence, scan that QR code, talk to our team. We will help answer any more questions that maybe we didn't answer here today for you. And if you would like to personally work with Tracy, this is your time. So do it. Do it